tangerine. Stand tall, sing loud, you know what victories mean. Together stronger, side by side we'll stand. Through the ups and downs we'll never be alone. With every step we'll make it to the top. Blackpool hearts, together oh so strong. Let the winds of change carry us high. We'll chase our dreams. Let nothing bring us down. In every moment we'll find the way together stronger. Through the darkest day we face the world with courage and might. No challenge too big, no goal too tight. With every breath we'll reach new heights. Blackpool hearts together shining bright. Sing out your heart, let your voice ring clear. Together stronger, let's make history here. With every beat our spirits soar. Blackpool hearts together, oh so deep. Together stronger, side by side we'll stand. Through the ups and downs we'll never be alone. With every step we'll make it to the top. Blackpool hearts together, oh so strong. Together stronger, and side by side we'll stand. Through the ups and downs we'll never be alone. With every step we'll make it to the top. Blackpool hearts together, oh so strong. Together stronger, side by side we'll stand. Through the ups and downs we'll never be alone. With every step we'll make it to the top. Blackpool hearts together, oh so strong.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another stream. Hope you can all hear me. Let me know in the comments if you can and you can see me. And have you watched my video from yesterday? Let me know that in the comments as well. And we'll take it from there. Let's have a little look at the comments straight away. So we've got, oh, hi Keith. What a shambles that was yesterday. Hope you and all us fans are okay. I don't think any of us are after that, to be honest. It was so bad. Tom Herdman, of course I know you. Of course I know you. Tom Herdman travels normally into, or Tom Herdman walk along with Tom Herdman. I remember you very well. Yes, it was shambolic, and it was disappointing, wasn't it? Because I was quite looking forward to seeing the new guys. We played really well at Huddersfield. We seemed to play great first half. I was expecting similar, to be honest. I thought we'd, breeze them away. I think everybody was confident. Obviously, I wasn't interviewing fans because I was doing that thing about the brick. If you've watched that, it's also something dear to my heart and very upsetting with Daz. I hope you watched the video anyway. If you haven't, please do. Keith Donaldson says, did you see the interview with Julian Winters and David Downs towards the end? Was it me or was David Downs laughing? They need to go. I'm not looking forward to Tuesday night. Well, I haven't watched it for the simple reason I can't stand that. Honestly, I can't stand Julian Winter. Honestly, I can't believe he's our CEO. I don't understand what he's doing. Whatever he's doing, he isn't doing it very well. I wouldn't pay him in washers. I've already said it. I wouldn't pay him. I don't know why Simon Sadler hasn't potted him already. I don't know why he's still here. I would have potted him after his first interview, about taking the money off the kids. I would have got rid of him then, honestly. He clearly has no idea about Blackpool, doesn't understand Blackpool, doesn't understand the poverty in Blackpool, doesn't understand the opportunities in Blackpool to make money out of things outside of Blackpool. Everybody who ever has a business who's come from out of town comes into Blackpool because it's, a little bit of a gold mine. They take the money out of Blackpool. That's been the problem over the last 50 years where everybody comes in, takes money out of Blackpool, and that's why it is as down as it is. He's coming to Blackpool. He's got a massive big stadium, the biggest place in Blackpool, the biggest stadium. There's nothing bigger where he could stage things in the summer if he wanted to, but they have no ambition, no idea. And the bricks is terrible. And Daz has been writing letters to him, writing letters to his secretary, wants a reply about his dad's brick. He hasn't even had the decency to reply. I would sack him tomorrow if it was my club. I can't stick him. Daz is here. Yeah, the forced and meaningless interview. Yes, Daz ought to tell you a little bit more about his dad. And I hope you've watched it. His dad's brick. It's just terrible. And I just hope I did you proud, Daz, on that. You've seen better dressed tramps. Well, I must admit, in his first interview, somebody said he looked like the guy that was delivering parcels from Everett. He does not look like a CEO. He doesn't talk like a CEO. In fact, I just honestly can't abide the guy. There's so many things about the club that I can't abide. I've talked about them before. Apart from the football, the experience at Bloomfield Road is not how it used to be. I've said it before. I don't like stewards that come from out of town, shipped in, don't know anything about the club. We're not Blackpool people. We've got loads of people, can't afford, need jobs. Why not just give it to local people to be stewards? Why do we have to ship them in from somewhere? They're not Blackpool people. They don't get it. I mean, if you watch the video, the bookend of my video, the end of my video is basically Pickle didn't come out. He didn't come out for the second half because he was booked in the lounge, behind us, the San Miguel or whatever it is. He was in there, and Bestie and him went off at half time, and they didn't come out. They just stayed in the lounge. They didn't want to come out and did it all on my own second half. But obviously, when it finished, I thought, oh, Pickle's still got the mic on because I've given this new little like a chain thing, with a mic on. So I had to go in there, and she said, oh, have you got your wristband, mate? And I was like, no. I said, because my friend's in there and he's got my microphone, so I need to go in. So anyway, I went in and we're having a little bit of a chat just for a few minutes, and Pickle said, I really want to go on and tell people the reason why I haven't come back out for the second half. I said, all right then. I said, okay, well, let's do it. So put the camera on the table. It's on a bit of a a mini tripod thing. Raise the camera up to like eye level height. We started the thing. Before you know it, here they come, the fun police. The manager of the place has sent the one of the security girls over to come and tell us that we can't film in there. It's illegal to film in there. And of course, we could be filming the children who were like in the background. But however, we all know that when Pickle and I are stood up at adult height and we have the camera on a tripod raised so it's at our eye level, you cannot see any kids because us two film a frame and we're a lot higher than little children, so they can be running around behind you. Wouldn't see them, so it's just another bullshit thing. But I kind of did say to the manager on the way out that they came over and interrupted our filming. You're giving me loads of ammunition to show what a bunch of jobs with you really are in this place. The game was over. The lounge was closing down. The bar wasn't open. There was no benefit to being in there. It wasn't like I was, going in illegally into the lounge and, getting free food and free drinks and all this. It was all over. It didn't matter, did it? It didn't matter if 5 minutes was all we needed. Not even that, just to do this. So we had to go outside, Pickle without his coat on, freezing to death, to do our final summary. And I loved it in many ways, that it just showed how much this club is run wrong, how they don't give a damn about fans. So I started off at the start of the video showing you how they don't give a damn about our bricks, our family, and then at the end, it bookended it with how they treated me in there, me and Pickle. And it was totally unnecessary. It was all, absolutely Jobsworth crap, and I can't stand people that just, can't actually think for themselves and think, what are these people doing? Are they doing any harm? Are they doing anything bad? I mean, if anything, just being in there is actually promoting it for them. But I'll tell you what, I won't promote it now. I'll say to everybody who's watching this video, don't bother paying to go in there. Just don't bother, because they're a bunch of wankers. That's it. So that's my say on that, and that's my message to the club. Don't use the lounge, because the people in there, the whole thing about it is just, wanky. Right, the big dog walker, hello Daz again, says those two clowns are ruining this club. It's a disgrace how they have run the club and treated its fans. Yeah, the fact that I haven't watched it, but I have seen things on A View from the Tower where it seems that Julian Winter actually thinks they're doing a decent job. Do you know what I mean? We'll talk about this homecoming parade in a bit, because this is really pulling my chain. I swear to God it is. I'm sure it is with you as well, but I'll talk about it in a bit. Let's just go through the comments. Keith Donaldson said the players yesterday should say sorry to the fans, probably. Should say sorry. The players were terrible, and at the end of the season, they all need to go, except Morgan and Fletcher. Rest were poor, and Peacock Farrell is a disgrace. What has gone wrong? I don't think I've ever felt more disconnected from a Blackpool side as I do at the moment. I don't. Over the years, I've really worshipped and adored certain players. Obviously, when I was a younger man, when I was a kid with my dad, you worshipped them, didn't you? I worshipped Eamon O'Keefe. I worshipped Paul Stewart. Mark Taylor, Keegan Parker, Andy Morrell. Deary, John Deary back in the day. Gary Briggs, Andy Morrison. We could do with an Andy Morrison. I know he was in the Armfield, wasn't he? He was in the Armfield. We need somebody like him, don't we? Somebody this is the problem we've got again. We have got some loans in, but again, young kids playing them in midfield. You know what I mean? Young kids against big men. It's why we went down out of the Championship, because this club don't seem to realise that you need to have tough players in that middle of the park. And we were discussing it before. Kenny Dougal. We've gone to pieces since we lost Kenny Dougal, because Kenny Dougal was as hard as nails. I've said this before. I went to watch a match and we were sat, I don't know why we were sat on the halfway line. Could have been a there was a reason why anyway. We sat in Jane and I were sat in the middle anyway, and behind the manager's chairs, kind of that area. And when you're there, when you're in the south stand up at the back of the top, you don't really get the feeling of what it's like on, low down near the pitch, what it's like. I used to find that when we went to go and watch non-league games. We did the non-league diaries during lockdown. We went to quite a few non-league games because the only football you could go to. But you're really close. Okay, it's non-league, but you're really close to the action. You're right. You're literally on the pitch, aren't you? And honestly, sometimes, we saw a few really bad injuries, and they go in so hard. You think, ooh, that must hurt. But when we sat on the halfway line watching Blackpool, and Kenny Dougal was in the midfield, you could see just how flipping hard he was, how hard he got stuck in, and he took no prisoners, and he was a battler, a combative battler. And we don't have that. We're soft. Half the time, players kind of go to chase the ball, to try and win the ball, but they're never going to actually really get there. And time again, we kind of see opposition players running through quite a lot of our players who are making tackles, and they just never really take the ball off them because they never really try. They don't really get in, and we get dominated. And yesterday, our midfield, they were like the home team, and we were just. Well, words fail me to describe yesterday. The Big Dog Walk says, I'm behind Evo and the team. That crosses the white line 110%. However, the CEO has failed the club and its passionate fans. I get that, but were you 110% behind them yesterday, Daz? I thought they let us down yesterday terribly. I get your kind of point about it, but I wasn't 110% behind that performance yesterday. It was an embarrassment as a Blackpool fan. Paul Sylvester. Hi, Paul. He says the manager said after the game, we have not got the type of players that we can knock the ball up, battle for the knock-ons or second ball. We need to play a passing game with this group. Well, then we are basically fucked, aren't we? There's no other word for it. If that is all we've got, if that is all we can do, pass through, because I tell you what, that didn't work yesterday. That was the one thing we couldn't do, was pass through them, was it? As they actually just took the game by the scruff of the neck. You felt whether they had it in their own half, whether they had it on the halfway line, whether they had it in our half. We couldn't get the ball off them. It was like we were playing, once again, we're playing bloody Real Madrid or something. We're playing a team that were like, not top of the league, We've had a few times now where we said, oh, well, Stockport, top of the league, fantastic. They were just miles better than us. Wrexham last year when they came, top of the league, just miles better than us. We did our best, but honestly, to play like that against a team that was literally one place above us in the bottom of the division, who got hammered by Lincoln City just a couple of weeks ago, 4-1 themselves. We made them look like bloody Barcelona. They'll never have an easier away win in their lives. They'll never score 4 easier goals in their lives. It was painful to watch. It was like a horror show. It was like something you wanted to watch from looking behind your coat, wasn't it? Behind you, just looking at it like that, because it was just so freaking bad. Oh, towards the end of the interview, says Keith Donaldson, Mr. Winters Winter was asked about Sadler and Hong Kong. I smirched a little bit. I'm worried about what will happen in May. They know the fans need to know. Well, they do, but we don't. I don't know, what can they say? They've got to be very careful. You can't be saying, we're not going to get beaten, or, he's not going to go down or anything. We just got to hope that he doesn't, I mean, at the end of the day, he won't be there. I doubt it. And I don't think they'll be able to. I don't think there's an extradition policy or anything. I think he'll still be here. I don't think he'll go down, even if he gets sentenced. I don't think he'll be going back to Hong Kong to go to prison. I don't think there's a chance of that. And I never really understand insider dealing anyway. Do you really? Is it? I don't know, if you're running a massive multi-million-dollar hedge fund, are you not going to know a few things, or would need to know a few things to invest in all that kind of money into making that kind of money for businesses? You would think they have a little bit of an ear to the ground, or have some, people that give them a little bit of insider information. I mean, I think we'd all like a bit of insider information or something, and people do give you tips, don't they? Say, get some ICI, they could be doing well. A lot of it's obvious, isn't it? If you were going to invest in, AI at the moment, you'd be thinking you'd have a chance, wouldn't you? You wouldn't really need insider knowledge to know that, getting in on ChatGPT was a good thing. If I ever had any money to invest in stocks and shares, I probably would. And I don't know, there's criminals out in this world. There's like, proper criminals, isn't there? Proper dangerous mofos out there in the world, isn't there? That should be behind bars because we ain't safe if they're out on the streets. And I just don't see insider trading as that kind of, I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it is really serious. Maybe it's really bad. Maybe it's awful that people have the audacity to profit off something. I don't know. I just don't see it as a crime. I don't really particularly. It's not something that bothers me. I couldn't give two hoots about stocks and shares. I get people, sometimes you get the phone call, don't you? I used to say it quite a lot a few years ago where I was always getting contacted about, having some sort of, joining some sort of scheme that would invest in stocks and shares. You might as well just, I used to say to them, you might as well talk to me about paint drying the stocks and shares because I ain't got a clue, not interested, ain't got any money, never going to have it, never going to be able to invest in stocks and shares. And even if I had the money, it's just like gambling. Gambling's not for me. I don't gamble, never have, unless I put on something to lose, which I should have actually backed, Plymouth to win yesterday. They might not have won. This season the refs haven't helped. In fact, we haven't recovered really, have we, from the knobhead from bloody, the knobber ref. We haven't recovered, have we, from Port Vale. He's really done a fantastic job on us. He's absolutely destroyed our season. And I was thinking back to that Port Vale game. We went 1-0 up, and the fans were starting to sing, the pool are going up sort of song, EI, here we go, up the Football League we go, and all that sort of stuff. And we were singing that, and you did feel at that moment in time that we were going up. We were, a few more wins, and we were going to be up in the playoffs. We were, the distance between where we were and the playoffs was not that far. And at that moment in time, I was believing, and then that referee sent husband off. And the whole season just changed. We really haven't recovered from it, have we? Andy's vlogs and food reviews. Hi, Andy. Travelled up from the West Midlands yesterday with my wife for Valentine's Day. You romantic, you. Always like Blackpool FC, but yesterday I was very poor. Going to Bolton next week with my son. Yesterday was... I think that's an understatement. It was just absolutely effing terrible yesterday. It was beyond belief. I guess policy comes first to these people. Yeah, you're probably talking about me, doing something in the... But it's not, it's not really illegal to film yourself anywhere. It is illegal, public places to, I don't even know if it is illegal or not really to film in public places. I don't think it is. I think if you're just recording yourself, I think even if you're in a theatre that said you couldn't use your you couldn't record the you can't no recording here if you're just recording yourself. You know what I mean? Saying this is a shit concert. You know what I mean? We paid 35 quid for this rubbish or whatever. Or this is amazing. You know what I mean? What I mean, if you're filming yourself, it doesn't really matter, honestly. This is our third season in League One. If we're lucky, we have eighth place finish, ninth place finish, and whatever comes, what may finish. It's definitely not a ship progressing in the right direction. I think we're in serious danger of going down unless there's a major shift in the mentality of these players that are prepared to actually battle to win a game. And I don't understand why we signed 3 players. Well, we signed 6 players, haven't we, in January? And if those players, if Ian Evatt is now saying that we haven't got the players to battle, then why wasn't he getting the players? Why weren't we getting the players in January that can battle then? Even if we got them from non-league, you know what I mean? Even if we'd have just bought them from like whoever's top in non-league, or maybe get somebody from League Two that's a really good battling midfielder who could probably step up to League One. Why have we signed a load of more players that haven't got the heart to battle for the ball and to win the aerial battles and to win the battles around the park that we don't win? What are we trying to do? I mean, I know we all go on about it. I went to the meeting with Ian Evatt, and one of the big questions at the meeting was, why do Blackpool have every player back? And for some unknown reason, it got taken in the wrong trajectory where somebody was talking about putting 5 players up. And to me, that's not what it's about. I mean, somebody's mentioned it on the View from the Tower today. Why not just shove CJ up on the halfway line? Well, why not? I mean, CJ, if CJ was up on the halfway line, do you honestly think that they could leave him alone or just leave one player on him? Because he'd just skin him alive from there, wouldn't he? Long ball through to CJ, in our half, just inside, couldn't be offside. He's like a grey out, he's off the mark as quick as you can. They won't be able to catch him. He'd just turn anybody. Just one long ball, sort of into the mid. So why they don't just leave CJ up and then they've got to hoof the ball out situation from defence rather than trying to pass it out or dink it 5 yards straight back to them and they just pen us back in. And, Ian Evatt was saying that when you actually defend that way, statistically, that is the best way. Statistically, that is the way to concede, less goals from corners and free kicks. Well, whether it is statistically that way, it certainly isn't for Blackpool because we concede corners and free kicks all the time. Like all the time. And we get penned back in all the time and we concede and we can't get out. And we all know we do this silly passing around the back, which we're not good at. It would be great if we were actually good at that. And it was a real weapon where, Peacock Farrell passes out to the right fullback. He puts one inside. He puts a nice ball into midfield. He turns, puts the ball out to the wing, coming down the ring, ball pack, goal. How often does that actually happen? How often do we see that kind of move where a goal comes out of Peacock Farrell passing it out to Ihekwe or... It's never. It just never happens. We end up basically normally passing out to the right fullback, into the centre half, back to the right fullback, to the centre half, across to the left hand side, back to Peacock Farrell. And by this time, we're under this immense amount of pressure and they're like closing us in and it's absolutely terrifying. And we're all going, oh my God, get rid. And they get rid and they hoof it up to the halfway line and they just pick it up because we're all back in our own half. And it's like rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. And you're just thinking, why are they doing this? You can understand why the crowd starts to boo it because it's ineffective. It's not the fact that we're doing it. If we were brilliant at it, the crowd would be roaring it on, wouldn't they? If they knew that every time Peacock Farrell passes it out, he gives it to the right wing, somebody cuts inside, somebody puts it across the middle, out to the wing, running down the wing, to it, overlapping, somebody comes around the side, ball across, goal, you'd be like cheering it on, wouldn't you? Every time the move started, you'd be thinking, come on, Blackpool, come on. The whole place would be roaring it on, wouldn't they? But they're not roaring it on because they know that it does absolutely nothing 9 times out of 10. It doesn't get us anywhere. We just have to hoof and hope. I don't know why they don't see it. In fact, I know Ian Evatt wasn't there, wasn't he, on the touchline? He was a touchline banned, but I'd have loved him to sit. I'd have loved to sat next to him and like sat with him and him understand how much pressure, how stressed I get out. I should have had Ian Evatt sat next to me, just to sit next to me and just enjoy watching this garbage with me, where I need to be sipping a margarita like 4-0 up, not 4-0 down. And it's just, I don't know. He'd have had a lesson, wouldn't he? Well, Obafemi being injured for 10 minutes before being substituted and husband kicking out like a spoilt child were ridiculous events, a terrible performance. The players just didn't know what to do. But can you believe? Well, I can believe because when we signed Obafemi, somebody posted on like a View from the Tower that he's always injured. He's got like a history record of always being flipping injured. Why would we then sign him? On what planet would you have to be on? Oh, we need somebody who's not going to get, I'll be saying to David Downs, we need to sign players, David. Are you listening to me? Number one has to be, right, that they like to, get stuck in a bit. I like number two. Number one, they need to be a player that kind of gets stuck in and likes to win the ball. Number two, has not got a history of injuries. That would be like number two. Those two main things. Seeing as we're a team that Everett says can't battle for a ball, can't battle, they just have to rely on passing it around and passing it through and using the pass. Defenders, all their lives, are coached to be able to deal with players passing the ball through them. They practice that day in, day out, week in, week out, all the time. What defenders can't deal with is wingers that can turn them inside out, runners that are faster than them, that can knock the ball around and beat them for pace. There's no amount of training can prepare you for that. And those are the kind of players that excite us, aren't they? They're the kind of, a tricky winger that can go through. Somebody like, when CJ put a couple of great balls across yesterday in that first half. Nobody there with him. Nobody up. Nearly that. Clarkson nearly got to a ball, didn't he? Everything was little bit nearly until they scored. But trying to set up a team to pass the way through a team, you've got to be bloody good, because defenders deal with that. Long ball into the box, they can knock them out all day, can't they? Deep balls into the box, generally they can just nod them away. They can do that all day. You can feed them to big centre halves, big 6 foot odd guys, and our guys are not jumping up, so they've got all the time in the world to knock them away. I just don't think we're playing the right way, or whatever I know we're down the bottom of the league. I know it's really hard to get players in January. It is really hard, because if you're bottom of the league, who the hell wants to come to Blackpool? If we'd have been top of the league, like I say, players want to come, don't they? A player wants to get a bloody promotion on his CV, doesn't he? Even in Blackpool, would love to go to Wembley, wouldn't they? But they don't want to come to a team that's like bottom of the league, do they? So it's hard to get them. But if you are going to get them, you've got to get the right players. And if we've signed all these players and Everett is saying that we haven't got the players to battle, then he hasn't signed the right players, has he? Well, what are we doing? Oh, Guile 83, hello. How am I good? No. Short answer. No, I'm not. I'm not. Hope good. No, I am good in everything else but this sodding football team that I watch. If the club wants a better connection with the fans, it needs more videos from Tangerine TV. The clips of the players at the training ground again, doing the chats and drills. Yeah, exactly. That's the thing that gets us to know them, doesn't it? And makes us connect with them. And I have Tangerine TV, and sometimes it's really good. But I could, imagine myself, doing Tangerine TV. I'm not saying well, probably am just as equally as good as them who make those videos. But the interviews that they do with players would be a lot more fun if I was interviewing the player. I can assure you now, there's no personality. There's nothing. It's drab. The questions they ask them when they come in. You kind of, when they ask him, you kind of know what the answer's going to be, don't you? What can you bring to Blackpool? What will you bring? What will you bring to the club? What made you decide to come to Blackpool Football Club? It's just all, you kind of just want to turn it off, don't you? Because you just think, Why are they asking this to every single player? We know they're going to say the same stock answers, aren't they? And there's just no imagination. They don't, I don't know, they don't spend 5 minutes having a chat with him. It feels like they haven't got them in a good, they've not had a laugh with him, got them laughing, got them relaxed, get some real gems out of him, things that they want to talk about, get them talking, You only good at football when you're at school. What position do you play then? Were you always destined to be, did everybody at school say you were going to be, a fantastic player? Anything just to get them going, but no, it's just drab, miserable, boring. It's just boring. I'm sorry, but it is. It could be, honestly. God. Oh, God. I don't know. In my life, I'm a I'm a DJ, and I can stand in front of 100 people. I can stand in front of 500 people. I can go to a wedding, all the people I don't know. I can entertain them, make them laugh. I can do all that sort of stuff. And it's just in me. It's in me. It's within me to get on with people and relax people and have fun with people. And I just don't think that we've got the star. I don't think we have the stars to do that during TV. Just don't think we have. You may disagree. You may think they're absolutely wonderful. Maybe just my opinion, but there's something about Ant and Dec are not. Not everybody likes Ant and Dec, but God, how many people do like Ant and Dec? It's because they're brilliant, aren't they? I wish I was as good as Ant and Dec. You know what I mean? Bruce Forsyth. No, people didn't like Bruce Forsyth. What a talented guy he was. Les Dawes. There's sort of talent in the world, and then there's just, I don't know, it's just Jobsworth. Keith Donaldson says, my favourite players were Klaus Speck Jorgensen, Keegan Parker, Charlie Adam, David Vaughan, DJ Campbell, Kevin Phillips, Matty Phillips, Gary Taylor-Fletcher. Were all better than, well, of course they were. There was something very special about those players, and I don't actually know, and I can't understand how the Oystons got these players, to be honest, because they didn't treat them very well. From what I hear from Keegan Parker, where he got us promoted to the to the championship, and they gave him less. They offered him a less money on his contract. Sad. They were awful. They used to, make them pay them £70 in the summer, because they weren't here, which is great. But they somehow seem to always get decent players, loads of players that we love. I think Bellicon made a huge difference, and I wish Simon Sadler had a Bellicon. But I just wish we didn't. I wish we didn't have these guys. I don't know too much about David Downs. I haven't watched it. That'll probably be the first time. But Julian Winter, I don't see anything about him at all. And it's not a case of just him personally, which I don't actually like him personally. I think he's a bit of a smarmy guy. I don't like him. He's not a kind of a person I like to go round for like an evening dinner with him or go out to the pub with him. I just don't. I'm not taken to him. But since he's been here, what has he achieved? What is he doing? Because if his job is to make Blackpool Football Club successful and run us as a successful thing, then quite clearly, from the position the club are in, and from the amount of people that are actually watching the game, and the amount of people that are like leaving and not coming back in droves, he's clearly doing a lot wrong. And I will get to the homecoming walk back soon. I'll just try and get through. But honestly, I'm so angry about it. Paul Anthony Jackson says, we will go down, no heart whatsoever. Well, at the moment, if you remember, I had the rant about Blackpool going down out of the Championship. What I said about my dad, about bottom of the league teams are hard to beat. And this was a thing that my dad always used to say. We'd be top of the league. We'd be playing somebody down in the bottom four. And everybody be thinking this is going to be an easy breeze. You know, Blackpool breeze these away because we're going for the playoffs. These are a team down the bottom. And my dad would say on the way in, I can hear him like it was yesterday, you know, Lee, this ain't going to be easy. You know, bottom of the league teams, they're hard to beat because they're battling for their lives. Battling for their lives. Plymouth, yesterday, were battling for their lives. You could see it. You could watch them battling for their lives. In the end, they just ended up playing like Brazil, didn't they? They were actually taking the piss at the end, weren't they? They were passing it around, all the fans, ole, 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 because they were just passing it around, they're keeping the ball. They could have kept it till Christmas because we weren't even trying to get it off them. It was just, but for the first half, they were battling to get on top of us, pushing us back, getting on top. I said in the video, this team are getting on top of us. You could feel a goal was coming, and it was a soft goal. And when I joked at half time, you know, they put the minutes up 3 minutes, I'm filming it, 3 minutes of extra time. I'm thinking, I said jokingly, well, we just need to, you know, get to half time and, you know, just keep this at 1-0. Not for 1 minute when I was saying that, thinking they're going to score 2 goals in this 3 minutes. I mean, it was absolutely un-effing believable. It has to be a 3-minute disaster, hasn't it? It was terrible to watch. It was unbelievable to watch. You can't believe that in 3 minutes a team can score a goal and then we kick off and they get another goal. Do you know what I mean? That is how bad it was. It was beyond belief bad. And that was us down at the bottom of the league side. We could theoretically end up second from the bottom if all the teams below us win the game in hand they've got us now. We could be second back down, second off the bottom of the table. It's an absolute distinct possibility. Were we battling like a team that could be second from the bottom? Were we that team that my dad would say would come and be hard to beat because they'll be battling? No, we're a team that even Everett says, can't battle. We have to pass our way out. It's absolute rubbish. Yeah, I have not forgotten what Julian Winter did about the kids. Yeah, it was not just the kids. It was the question that really rattled my chain with him, and it really rattled my chain. You know, sat there like that with whatever he was with his bloody T-shirt on or whatever he was in. And Andy Bay said to him, you know, why are you putting up the prices when Blackpool is such a poor town, you know, that people can't afford it? There's a cost of living crisis. His answer was to that question that, yes, it's a cost of living and we've got to pay our electric bill and the staff, we have to pay them more and we've got more expenses, so we need more money. And that rattled my chain. It still does. It annoys me. It makes me hate him for that very reason, that if you know as a CEO of Blackpool Football Club that you need more money coming in because you've got bills to pay and you've got electric to pay, you're not like a little guy who's working in a little job, you know, putting bolts on something, or is he packing sandwiches or something and he's on a basic wage. You've got Blackpool Football Club. You've got this football club. And if you cannot generate the money outside of putting the prices up, then who the hell are you to be running a football club in Blackpool? Because you just don't get this town. And that's what really pisses me off. And I don't think anybody who was in charge of Blackpool Football Club, who was from Blackpool, would treat the fans like he did right there and then, comparing his electric bill to people in Blackpool who are absolutely struggling. You know, when he sat on, how much is he getting paid? How much is he getting paid? How much is Simon Sadler paying him to say, here you are, pal, run the club for me, make sure that, you know, we're up near the top, make sure that the team are playing well, and make sure that it's making money. And if you have to get Martin Booker or whoever it is who does all the, sponsorship deals and all that and gets all the advertising revenue, if you've got to get on top of him and make sure that we're, micromanage him and make sure that we're getting as much money in from sponsors. But to get the money in from sponsors, you have to have the football that's good. If you want to fill your sponsors lounge with people paying a lot of money, the football's got to be absolutely fucking amazing, because if it's shit every week and we're losing every week, nobody's going to want to come. We need the ground filling, don't we, with people? Rather than having 8,000 at 30 quid, why not let's have 15,000 at 20 quid or 15, whatever. Have the atmosphere rocking, bouncing. I already said it before, between the end of the season and the moment they start corrowing the pitch and taking it all off, there's at least about a month where you could have concerts. You've got the biggest stadium in Blackpool. Everybody, makes money out of holiday makers coming to Blackpool. There's thousands of them. I remember when I was taxi driving, and we had Neil Diamond, Rod Stewart. It was so busy. You were picking people up, taking them to Bloomfield Road. It was just incredible. And all the people that would come in, were not singing in the things, Blackpool's a shithole, I want to go. Well, they weren't singing any of that because they've come to see Rod Stewart, Neil Diamond, have the time of their lives. Why not have, Lytham can have prom days. Why can't we have something special? Where's the rugby that used to come in? Where's the imagination to use that stadium, to make money with when you have the chance that could have raised, I don't know how much it raised. But anyway, let's carry on. David Down said the players at start of season were fit. I couldn't give a straight answer when he was at training ground. He must have had his eyes shut. So the players were fit before the start of the season. Yeah, I can't remember if they were soon injured anyway, weren't they? I don't know if they were all fit, but they were soon pretty. Right. Oh, yeah, you brought it up, haven't you? The promotion of the homecoming celebration and last-minute change of fixture from Wigan to Burton was and will be a mistake, especially in the terms of crowd size and atmosphere, with Wigan being local. Well, here's my thoughts on this. Julian Winter hasn't got a Scooby-Doo idea about what homecoming meant to us. He ain't lived it. He hasn't boycotted a club for 5 years. He hasn't missed football with his 2 sons for 5 years. He hasn't walked away from the club. He hasn't marched back. He hasn't been to hell and back with the Oystons. He hasn't had his, the fans sued. Somebody sued for holding up a newspaper saying, blacking out, Oyston, we are not thieves. We changed it to we are thieves, and you held it up as a newspaper that got picked up by cameras, and oh my God, the whole lot of it. He hasn't lived it. He doesn't know anything about it. And he's jumping on the bandwagon to try and get a few more fans there to celebrate. What are we actually celebrating if we celebrate Homecoming Day? What's the celebration? Because the Homecoming Day was the celebration. The Homecoming Day was a celebration of getting rid of the tow rag owners that were in here that took all the money out of the club, and they went to, to a trial over it. They went to court and they lost, and they were proven to have misappropriated the club funds, and they had to pay 30 odd million. And we were all cheering and everything else. We were celebrating getting rid of them. Woke up this morning feeling fine. Got Blackpool FC on my mind. We got the Oystons out like we said we would. And we sang that all the way around the ground. It was phenomenal. But that was the celebration. And the celebration was to get rid of them, and then our dreams come true with a new owner that's finally going to get Blackpool and is going to invest in the town. He's going to build a stadium and finish that off. He's going to sort out the training ground. He's going to invest like Valerie Bellicon. He's going to get us back to where we were. And if he'd done that, if the club were now in the Premier League, it would be a celebration. It would be something that was worth celebrating, because what we did and what we achieved in that 5 years The dream came true and we want to celebrate it. What are we celebrating if we go and celebrate homecoming day in a worse position than we were, with worse players than we had at the time, with, people from out of town being stewards rather than local Blackpool people because they're trying to save 10 bob on stewarding or whatever it is? Do we need it? No. We could have Blackpool people being stewards and they'd be a lot nicer. And we run the club as if fans actually are not a product, but are actually a part of a family that we used to be. I didn't like the Oystons, but I used to be part of a family. I wasn't particularly part of the Oystons family, but I was part of a family. And I loved the players, I adored them, and I loved the team, and I loved Blackpool Football Club no matter where we were. And there's a part of me I would even like to have started right from the bottom of non-league and come all the way up and had all the wonderful fun of going to places that we've never been to and making our way back. And it would have been a wonderful, magical journey. It's not been a magical journey. It's been disappointment upon disappointment. And at this moment in time, our fans are at the lowest we have ever been since Simon Sadler took over. And we're not low because we're angry like we were during the boy. We were absolutely angry. We are now disillusioned, disenfranchised, don't want to go. It's like, why do you want to go and watch these players that don't represent us, who don't give us, who don't get us out of our seats, who don't try, and a board that just don't seem interested in the club at all, as you can see with Daz's brick. So why would we want to go and walk back from the comedy carpet to Blackpool to celebrate the wonders of what homecoming day did for Blackpool Football Club? When I started this YouTube channel, that's how it started. I went to a meeting at the village, all about Blackpool, coming back. The Oysters have lost. We had a big meeting with BST and everything there. Terry McPhillips was there, and they were saying that basically there's 15,000 seats that haven't been sat in for 5 years and they're covered in pigeon poo. And somebody has to clean it because in 2 weeks, in a week and a half, they're all going to be full. And people cannot sit in that bird poo. They've got to be cleaned. So can we have volunteers? Will people volunteer to clean all those seats? I thought, I'll tell you what I'll do. I will volunteer. And I'll tell you what, I'll make a video about it. I'll make a little video about it. I'll film what we're doing. I'll film myself cleaning seats, getting all the bird muck off, and I'll have a chat. And we even made a song and everything, a bit of fun that we had that I created, and I had them all singing and everything. And I made that video, and I put that video on YouTube, not knowing what had happened. And straight away, within hours of it going up, there was the one show on to me, there was the EFL show on to me. Can we use your footage? Can we interview you down on the comedy carpet? I did all that, and I thought, wow, this is going to be brilliant. And in my mind, I thought, I'll tell you what, I'm going to document. I'm going to document, like, historically, for anybody to watch in the year 2090 or whatever, when I'm long gone, or, if I'm long gone, if I get run over by a bus tomorrow or whatever, people will be able to see what Blackpool was like in 2017, how this was like almost like a brand new club. It was a whole new start. All the fans had come back, and I was going to chart. My channel was all going to be about this journey of, in my head, I'm thinking, they're going to get back up. They're going to get back in the Premier League. We're going to win the Premier League. We're going to end up in Europe. And by the year 2050, we're going to be the biggest team in the world. That was my dream. And I thought, I'll do things that get people excited about coming back to Blackpool. And I remember I filmed, if you remember, I filmed all the work going on with the pitch and that blooming eagle flying around and all that sort of stuff, didn't I? And in the summer to get, people excited about Blackpool Football Club. And I remember we went to play AFC Fylde, and Jane and I were walking in, and I could hear people saying, like, is that Lee Charles TV? And I kind of had an impact, and I was thinking, man, this is going to be so exciting. I'm going to document this. It's going to go down as in history as, and I wanted to help the club. The whole point of my channel, everything that I've ever done is about promoting Blackpool, or it was about promoting Blackpool, helping them. I thought like this. So for instance, like, I buy this, I say this, honestly, I love it. This top is, oh my God, I love it, right? So if I was, if I had now, I don't know, if my videos were getting 20,000 views and Blackpool were in the championship and everything was going and we're top of the league and like people were watching, thousands, 20,000 people watching my channel all the time. And I bought this top, or had this, bought for me for Christmas. And I started saying, wow, this, get down to Bloomfield Road and buy yourself one of these. It was like, if everything was buzzing, people say, yeah, you know what I mean? It actually makes Lee Charles look quite good in that. I can see, because when you watch the footballers, they wear these things and they look absolutely, like amazing. You know what I mean? You think, oh God, if I had that body or whatever. But no, it's just me where any of us could look like this, and I could, people would say, oh wow, you know what? I'll have one of them. How much are they? 45 quid. And if I had 20,000 people watching it, and let's just say 1% of those people bought one, that's 200 shirts. If I got 1,000 watching it, 1% is 1. Is 10. You know what? It's just where I thought I'd be and how I thought I could help, but that's what I'm all about. Tom Fairney says, this is down to Everett more so than the players. His system 5 at the back doesn't work. I don't believe the players understand it. Even if it worked, it would bore me to tears. Bolton fans warned you. Well, we hated Steve Bruce's 4 across the back because our players couldn't play that either. So I don't know about that really, to be honest. I kind of think, I have said many times that I think our team would play best as a 4-3-3 or a 4-3-2-1. You know what I mean? Rather than a 4-4-2. I kind of think 4-3-3 suits the players. If I was looking at it, I'm not a coach or anything, but just my belief, a 4-3-3 would work. A 4-3-2-1 would work better than what we're doing at the moment. And I think clearly the way we're playing isn't working. I agree with you. I don't think this 5 across the back, although most of the times it's 3 in the back, isn't it? But it doesn't really work, and clearly it doesn't work. It just doesn't. It doesn't work. It's not working because we're terrible at it, and we get beat quite a lot playing it. Keith Dawson, the atmosphere was flat yesterday. Why was Plymouth fans allowed to have the south corner and far end of the east stand? Yes, it's this safe standing thing, isn't it? It's kind of like, really, we've gained something. We've gained something because they wanted this safe standing thing in the north. But when you have safe standing for your own fans, then you've got to provide safe standing for your away fans. And they've kind of ruined it, haven't they? In many ways, they've ruined everything because, one, they've had to put safe standing in that corner, which brings the away fans into the south stand, which is horrible if you're in the south stand because they're just too near. They've had to shut the Corner Flag restaurant, which everybody kind of went to before the games or whatever. It's not open or whatever anymore. So they've lost that buzz before. And that was a beautiful place to go. When you went to the Corner Flag, you actually felt like you were going to like a Premier League ground in there, Everybody's going in, having, lunch before, and it was great, You could sit out on the balcony if you wanted to, if you went and had drinks there at night, and you could just sit there in an empty stadium looking at it all lit up, and all that's gone because they've put them safe standing there. They need to get this blooming east stand done and get the safe standing, put it in there, put it in the east. You don't want it there. It's a terrible place for it to be. The club has sold more away tickets and you can hear away fans. Yeah, well, you can. Yeah, it's weird really because when they're in that corner, you don't hear even in the south stand, you don't hear the north like you hear it if you're in, say, like the north side of the east stand, the west stand. If you're sat in the west stand, kind of near that corner, the north is deafening, absolutely like bloody deaf. If you're in the north stand, it's quite deafening, but from the south stand, it's a long way away, and it doesn't. It's good, but it's not. it is good when it's going. It's great when everything's going, but for it to be noisy in the south, particularly on my videos, for you to get the atmosphere, the south's got to be bouncing, and the ground's brilliant when all the three sides are going, but nothing's going, because I know Ian Evatt wants us to do the turnaround and get behind the team, but there's nothing to get behind, because you're sitting there like holding your breath all the time. Are we going to concede? Because that's what, honestly, it's not relaxing. You don't want to sing. You're terrified. It's awful to watch. It's so frightening to watch. It's not an enjoyable thing. It's, if you pay money to go and see a show at the theatre and you were feeling the way that you feel watching the show as you do watching Blackpool Football Club, you wouldn't go to the theatre. You wouldn't pay money to go and feel like that. And that's how it feels. It very rarely feels good. It feels like we're hanging on all the time. You fear they're going to equalise. If we win, it's almost like the minute the referee blows the whistle, you want to just get down on your knees and cry and put your hands up to God and say, thank God we got through. Never, ever are we comfortable. Very rarely. Duncan Wood said, we're in big trouble. Can you see us getting anything from the next 3 games? Mansfield, Bolton and Lincoln. No, can't. If we get something out of those games, I don't think we'll. I think we'll get beaten. Everyone else. I think Mansfield will beat us tomorrow, Tuesday. If we play like that, they will. I think Bolton will definitely want to beat Ian Evatt, won't they? They'll be bursting to beat him. And we never win there anyway. Even when we're playing good and they're bad, we never win there. It's just an absolute unhappy hunting ground. And Lincoln are probably the best team in the league. They're playing unbelievable football, and this is their year, and they're going to go up. And they will be bursting to beat us, seeing as we beat them in the playoff final. They hate us, so we've got no chance. That is nil point. Nil point. Keith Donaldson said, Evatt has come out again to apologise. Why can't the players? The players should give their wages to charity. Yeah, they should. They should all be embarrassed about the way they played on Saturday. Because I said on the walk to the video that walk to the ground that this is. I know every game's important, but my God, this was the one game, because you've got all them coming up. This is the game we had to win. We had to win that game. My speech in front of if I was the manager of the club to the players, I would say, look, lads, you have to win this game. You cannot come back into these changing rooms after 90 minutes losing this game. You have to win this game. Do you understand how important this game is? This is the most important game ever. They are 4 points ahead of us. And if we can close that gap to 1 point and pull ourselves away from the 33-point teams and get ourselves on 36, it's going to be a massive monkey off our back. It's going to give us a chance to push on from there. But if you lose this game with Mansfield, with Bolton, with Lincoln coming up, we are in absolute dire straits. So I want you to go out there and I want you to run through brick walls for me to win this game. That's what I was saying. Do not have me talking to the media and talking to the fans. Do not have the whole place with 1,000 people left in at full time because everybody's gone home. Honestly, it couldn't have been worse, could it? Tom Fairney says the back five can't find a forward pass. This is all down to Evatt. He coaches them. Boring, negative crap. It's weird, really, because I've seen us play under Evatt a few times, especially over Christmas, where we actually played quite well. I actually thought, wow, this is really good. But I don't know whether we're missing Albie Morgan. We're certainly not missing Lee Evans, because he was no good, but we're not playing any better without him. Thomas Pawson says, hi Lee. Felt quite emotional walking out of that ground yesterday. It's so sad that we're making teams like Plymouth look like Barcelona. And with all the money we spent, something definitely wrong. Well, there is. There has to be. And I can't understand why Simon Sadler isn't sacking these people, because he imagine being Simon Sadler and all the money that he spent. You know what I mean? He spent more money this season than he's ever spent. He spent, he's put his hand in his pocket again, and in January he's brought 6 players in. And the people that have brought them in have brought in injury-prone players who are all injured. You know, a lot of them. Kids that clearly, you know, I'll say it all the time, you can't have a midfielder, kids. You can't. You need big, strong players in that midfield. You need Kenny Dougal-type players. And if there are, and I'll be saying to Ian Evatt now, if you can find a midfielder somewhere that's out of contract, that's a bit of a battler, and he needs a club, just bring him in, man. Just bring him in, because we're going to go down. That's the reason why we went, you know, one of the main reasons I believe we went down out of the Championship is because we had Charlie Patino and Sonny Carey in midfield, and we're like, they were young kids. Every 28-year-old, 30-year-old, battling, rough, tough, you know, midfielder with a nose like this would have looked at them kids and thought, ooh, look at these little cherubs. I'm just going to give them hell. They're going to know I'm here, and I'm going to bully these little kids off the park, and that's what it is. We didn't need Obafemi. He's done nothing. Well, we didn't need Obafemi because he clearly hasn't done anything anywhere, has he, for ages, and he's injury prone. So why would he be on your list? Why would he be on the list? I don't know. Blue Terrier says, in terms of results, Lee, 1 win in 9, it can't go on like this, can it? Well, it can. It can, and I can see it going on at the moment all the way to the end of the season. If I'm being honest, if we play like that, if we play like we played on Saturday, from now to the end of the season, there's one way we're going, and that's down. Yeah? It's one way. And if we have to go down to get rid of Julian Winter, then I'll take it right now. If we get rid of that horrible man, and that's being polite. If we get rid of him, then it'd be worth going down just to get rid of him. There's nothing about it. There's nothing about that guy. There's nothing about him that makes me want to be, that makes me like him. Nothing. I don't know what you feel about him. Maybe I'm being harsh. Maybe post in the comments if you think I'm being cruel and mean. But I tell you, feedback to Simon Sadler, Blackpool Football Club. If you are watching this, get rid of that guy. Please, God. Keith Donaldson said, Mr. Winter said basically the players that Evatt has got will have to work with him. I was trying to laugh at us. Mr. Winter said basically the players that Evatt has got will have to work with them. I was trying not to laugh at that with you. Keith Donaldson said 3 years we have had this. It is a fucking joke. There you are. I can say it in the comments. A fucking joke. And now the Muppets upstairs have run this excellent club. You know, yeah, how have they run this excellent club of ours? It's certainly not better when they came in, is it? You can't see anywhere, can you, improvement? Yes, they've improved the stadium, you know. It does look nicer. The work that Rob Purden's doing. I actually would like to do a video with Rob. I haven't approached him yet, but I'd like him to show me it all because we don't see it in the south. It looks amazing, the job he's doing, but it might be an amazing job he's doing, and it might be great, and it's a bit of fan engagement. I get all that, and it's something to be proud of, but we ain't winning. You know what I mean? We ain't winning. It is wonderful, and it would be wonderful if we're top of the league, but unfortunately we're bottom of the league, and everything we're doing, no matter how wonderful it is, it's not making any difference. Big Dog Wilk said, I'd be more than happy right at this moment with Evo and the team to get safety first and a proper reboot in summer. Well, that's the thing. Can we get there? Sadler needs to get rid of the stupid idiots upstairs. And was the PA system loud yesterday? I could hear Tony Parwell. The PA system is just a joke, to be honest. It's another joke that needs fixing. Barn Park Greens. Hello, Barn Park Greens. Hello. I thought the first 30 minutes you looked very solid at the back. I think as soon as one went in, heads went, and 2 shocks off goals killed it. I understood your fans because we've been there as well. Yes, of course you have. We're not playing Manchester United. We're playing a club just like ourselves, you know. And as I've done all these videos over the years, and I've got to, we've done our football tourist guys, me and Jane, and we've met loads of, other fans from other clubs. And I've had, I've done live streams, all that sort of thing. And I've met people that I never thought would meet. And I kind of, the sort of the penny dropped on me quite a few years ago that, you know what? We're all the bloody same. You know what I mean? Most fans of most clubs, other than if you're watching, say, Man City at the moment or whatever, or Arsenal, or some of the top 5 clubs in the country, the big, massive clubs, everybody else is pretty much just the same. We all suffer regularly, on a regular basis, because that is just the way. It's just the way it is. We're all, struggling for money, struggling to try and get up the tree, fighting against a league that has just made the divide bigger and bigger and bigger. We've got, owners coming in that are approved by the EFL, and they pass the fit and proper person's test to run a football club, and then they take every penny out of it, and the club's in a mess. And then what are the EFL doing? They're then taking points off the club and ruining the lives of the very fans that have nothing at all to do with any of it. Don't have any say in it, can't do anything about it other than boycott like us. And even when you boycott, they're not interested, are they? They're not interested. You can boycott, you can write letters. They don't want to know. They don't want to know the fans, but what they do want to do is punish fans with points deductions, which punishes fans. The whole thing is really, you sometimes question why you really bother even watching football, because it's pointless. The whole thing's pointless. Even if you actually get into the Premier League, you get there, and when you get there, you got to pray. You're just hoping you can stay in and not get beaten a lot. I mean, we got 39 points and we still get, we came down, didn't we? No matter the heroics we did, we never saw a penny of it. And when you actually get there, it's not all that good. And if you get there, you got VAR, which is just awful. So who wants to be there? All you want to be is near the top of the league. You didn't join in the songs about relegation either, because they're in poor taste, and I've seen us getting stuffed home and away 6-1. Lost on a Tuesday night, Norwich 5-0 versus Burnley. Football is a CUNT. Yes, it is. See you next Tuesday. Totally great. I'm glad you didn't join in the songs. It isn't nice, but people aren't nice. It's the way of the world, really. It's just how it is. We sing. We picked up a song, which I hate, by the way. I hate this song when we start saying, "How shit must you be? We're winning away." Now that we went to Hull, and Sonny Carey scored an absolutely brilliant goal. He scored an amazing goal, and he ran to the fans. It was like pumped up. He was like, God, could feel his chest pounding. He scored this wonder goal. And what did we start singing then? Our Muppets. How shit must you be? We're winning away. Which is basically saying to Sonny Carey, how the hell are we winning? Because we're shit. We're so shit that they must be shitter. That's what you're singing, isn't it? But the Muppets latch on to that song and think, oh, it's so wonderful. It's not. It's just taking the piss out your own players. There's some terrible football songs, and that one is one of my least favourites. And yeah, singing, Blackpool are going down. Wonderful. Thanks a lot. Yeah, we know we don't actually need reminding. What's changed, says Paul Sylvester, from Bruce to Everett? We don't look a better side, so changing the manager has not worked. No, because nothing's changed really personnel-wise, has it? We've just had a million injuries. We've still got Downs and Winter, bringing us down in the winter. It's a great name, isn't it? Down in the winter. Perfect. What a combination of people to have in charge of your club, honestly. I don't know what he's doing, Simon Sadler, with them too, honestly. Simon, where's your head at? Sort it out. Honestly, sort it out and get rid of the cancer that's running through our club. It starts there. The best staff of any club are usually die-hard fans of the club because it's their life. Unfortunately, we currently don't have enough staff who are actually Blackpool fans of the club. I was actually thinking, we don't have enough staff who are fans of the club who understand the club. I mean, at least the Oysters did understand Blackpool. You know what I mean? Owen Oyston did understand Blackpool. He was a rogue. He was like a pantomime villain at times, but he understood, like, you know, Blackpool. You know, what you can pay and what you can't pay, and what you can charge and what you can't charge. So he understood it, and these lot don't understand it. Keith Donaldson again, highly, it was disgusting that fans have waited months to put bricks down with their loved ones' names on it, and the statue of Stamp Mortison statue. And the state of the Morty statue is terrible. One of excellent heroes is a disgrace. Yeah, I agree. And you know, they talk about, you know, we all know that the Oystons ruined that statue of Morty, don't we? And for me, and I know this might well be controversial, but there's a lot of bad memories with that Stan Mortensen statue because of what the Oystons did to it, hacking it off and taking it down. And I think that it's not a good enough statue for him, if I'm being honest. If I'm being 100% honest, I think the Jimmy Armfield statue is far more impressive. Sometimes, you know, statues are amazing. You know, one of my favourites is actually the Stanley Matthews statue at Stoke City. It's phenomenal. If you've not been, you've not seen it, it's actually Stanley Matthews in different, like, running, but like quite a few of him, all in different, you know, like kind of showing basically how much of a tricky winger he was, how he could go inside, outside. And it's a beautiful statue. And, you know, Stan Mortensen, you know, is the only man in football to ever score a hat-trick at Wembley. And the Wembley final, you know, was named the Matthews final, which he lived with it. We know it was named the Matthews final because obviously Matthews had never won an FA Cup medal, and he was the nation's darling, and everybody who wasn't a Bolton fan was cheering Blackpool on in the whole of England because they wanted Stanley Matthews to get his FA Cup medal, and he was getting on a bit when he was in his 40s when he won with Blackpool. But he is Stokes, you know, son. He did his most wonderful thing with Blackpool, and he was, you know, an amazing player. But really, Stan Morty was, you know, my dad would talk about Morty. He'd talk about Matthews and he'd say, well, but Matthews had a bit of arrogance about him that a lot of people didn't like. He was a bit arrogant, but everybody loves Stan Morty. You know, he is. Jimmy Armfield is our one-man club. He's so important to Blackpool Football Club, the history of Blackpool Football Club. The fact he had England caps, but really, historically, Stan Morty is probably our biggest, you know, player. He was just, you know, my dad would talk about him. He was a really hard centre forward. He had a metal plate in his head, didn't he? Where he could he could go in on any header because he had a metal plate in his head. He was as hard as nails. He could go straight into the blooming goalpost and be all right. You know what I mean, with his head. And yeah, it was just amazing player. And I sometimes look at that statue and I think it's not big enough. I'd like it bigger, larger than life. I feel like he's smaller than life. I can't remember how big Morty was, but I'm sure he wasn't. He was quite big and he looks small on that statue. And I sometimes think if it's, you know, if it's not quite right and it's got, you know, the Oysters spoiled it, didn't they? You know, that's the other thing. The Oysters spoiled it. Oh, why not get somebody to commission a new one, a better one that really, really captures Stan Mortensen and the fact that he is the only man to score a hat-trick at Wembley. You know, that's just my thoughts on it. I think you could change it, but even if you don't change it, look after it. Look after it. You know what I mean? Keith Donaldson does worry about our future of Blackpool FC. Yeah, we all worry about it, but I say all the time, it doesn't really matter what league you're in. It doesn't matter if we actually go down to the very bottom of non-league, as long as we're winning. Football's all about winning. It doesn't matter who you're playing, what league you're in, where you are. If you're winning, you're happy. You know, your weekends are good. If you're winning, if the football's good, you're winning, life's great. You know, you can be in the Premier League and it's not good if you're not winning. You know what I mean? You're not just in the Premier League thinking, oh, you know, fantastic. You know, we got beat by Arsenal, but we played well. We got beat by Liverpool. No, you want to beat you want to beat Arsenal. You want to beat Liverpool. You don't want to lose. You never want to lose. You want to win. You're a football fan. Hi, Keith Donaldson. Hi, Lee. Do you think it got worse when Ben Mansfield left? I can remember you wanted Liam Rossini as manager. I don't think it's got any. I think it has got worse since Ben Mansfield. But you know me and my opinion. You know, we went to see Ben Mansfield. I had to go in and see him because I said something that I shouldn't have said. It wasn't all that bad really, but I'd said that the ticket prices were 30 quid and they weren't for that game. They were 20 quid. And they were not happy that I'd said that, even though it didn't really matter. We were going down anyway. I'd had my rant video and I had to go in and, you know, Ben Mansfield said to Jane and I that, you know, he'd said to everybody at the club, our goal this year is just to finish one place above relegation. And I was really upset about it. I thought that set the tone for everything that's gone on. I thought it was the worst thing that Ben Mansfield could have told me. I was horrified when he told me. I told him in the meeting, I can't believe you're saying that to me because I don't believe that finishing one place above relegation is what I believe, where I believe Blackpool should be. You know, we've got in the Premier League. I've seen it. I've seen little Blackpool get in the Premier League. And my aim would always be, I would have just been like the Oysters, putting a £5 million bonus on getting in the Premier League. I'd have done that. I wouldn't be saying, oh, let's, you know, hopefully we stay 1 point above relegation. Because if you set your stall at 1 point, one place above relegation, you're going to be at the bottom of the league trying to fulfill that destiny. And if you don't do it, you're relegated. And so we're relegated. So, yeah, I don't think you're out. Slotcott Pete. Hello, Pete. Well, Lee, I think that yesterday was a shambolic performance. I really hope that Evo had the players in today for an extra session of watching the 29-10 seasons. Yeah, all the reviews at least. Indeed. But you can't educate people on what we've been through. It's not possible. But they need to play, like, you know, they need to play like they're going down and they're trying to not go down, not just like we're happy to lose and go down. They should have been lying on the floor, crying at the end of that game that they'd lost. You know, really, you want to see the players, don't you? Like giving it everything, lying on the floor, just devastated they've lost by a goal or something. But that yesterday was just they just probably walked off. I didn't even watch. I couldn't care less. I didn't applaud them, didn't do anything. Keith Donaldson said, I think some players aren't performing due to some players on high wages. Well, I mean, that's one thing the Oysters didn't do. They didn't play high wages and they made them wash their own kits, and they did also, they had them grounded. They're not grounded here, are they? You know, a bunch of prima donna fairies, if you ask me. You know, they are real fairy players. They don't get in. They won't make a tackle, really. In fact, I can't believe we got a man sent off. Really? Who just... Clint Douglas says, I always come to the games when I'm down from Scotland. Next trip is in March for Port Vale game. That's a relegation game for sure. Keith Chinnotley, it can't get worse. Oh, yes, indeed, it could. Could well get worse. We could be down in League Two. I'll tell you, once you're down in League Two, you're only one bad season away from being in non-league. And you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if that's where they're taking us. Slotcott Pictures League Two incoming, I fear. We need to get rid of Husband as he's turned into a liability. Yeah. Kai Cameron says, when Everett came in, he promised fearless attacking football. The only game we've seen, that is the Cardiff game. It is, isn't it? And it was great, wasn't it? Where did it all go? What is this? I mean, I know injuries have prevented some of it, but that 100%. There was only one team yesterday playing fearless attacking football, and it wasn't us. Hi, Gary, with a double R. How you doing? Hello. Glad to see you on for another miserable freaking Lee Charles video. I think the time has come for Simon Sadler to stand forward and make a statement of intent or sell up. I think at the moment he is not in a position, really, is he, to sort of to do that? Is he? I don't know why they're not coming. Right. He's not really in that position, is he? He's got a lot on his plate with this court case coming up. Dennis Stoichkov says, one positive is we saw glimpses of the old Bowler second half. Yes, we did. Yes, we did. Wouldn't it be great if Bowler was playing in a team where he didn't have to carry us and he could just do his bits and everybody else was helping him out? James says, I honestly think Ian Evatt will sort the team out. He is very ambitious. I hope I'm right. I hope you're right too. Lee, I think we win. What do you think we win? We didn't win yesterday. Are you thinking we won yesterday? Have you just woken up from somewhere? Don't know the result. What do you think? You mean we'll win on Tuesday? Duncan Wood says, out of all the signings, there's only 2 players I would have in my team. Fletcher and Imre. Well, we can't have Imre in the team because they took him back. I don't know why they took him back. He was very valuable. We've certainly gone backwards since we lost him. And Fletcher, yeah, obviously just for his goals. Oh, you think we're getting something against Mansfield? Cool, you're stupid. Yes, you're stupid. We're going to beat Mansfield. Yeah, I don't know. I don't. Yeah, I'm not feeling that, if I'm being honest. Patrick says, Plymouth fan here. Hope you stay up. We know it's hard for you. We have been in the same boat. Yeah, of course you do. We've all been in that same boat. Well, that's it. I've ranted. I think that's all the comments covered. There's nothing else. Oh, no, there's more. Brandon Belton Wanderer says, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Yes, you probably warned us, didn't you, Brandon? You know, Ian Evatt, you're probably laughing your head off at the time. I'm glad you're good, Gary. I'm glad you're good. I'm good too, apart from football. I've got it, Callum. You've told me 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. You think we're going to win against Mansfield? I've got you. I got it the first time. I've mentioned it. How many times do I have to keep mentioning it? Duncan Wood says, I'm with Pickle on guessing the crowd. Nearest wins. Thanks for the chat, Lee. Yes. Nearest wins, but actually Pickle did win because he had the highest. He was in 9,500. There was 9,800 and something. I said 9,100. Bessie said 9,300. I even forgot to put it on that he was the winner, but I will congratulate him in the next video and say that he actually won, even though he was sat in the sponsors lounge, in the lounge. Keith Donaldson says, highly in the Downs interview, he was asked new owner would come and take the club further, and would Simon Sadler accept, and Downs just smirking. I tell you what, I know people have said that like Andy Bays, ask the questions, but I tell you what, I'd love to have a sit down with him and tell him and give him a piece of my mind in an interview. I really would. There'd be blooming squirming in the seats there, and I'll tell you, and I'm sure you guys would like to interview them as well. Stephen Wood says, absolute shambles. Yeah, absolute shambles. I totally agree. Yesterday is I can't think of much worse than yesterday. I can't think of a time when it was worse, a game that was actually worse than that I felt so dejected watching it. I didn't know whether to put the footage in that I did put in at the end, because I was thinking, Jane often says to me that, she says, Lee, you do have a responsibility to keep people's chins up and all that, and, not get people upset and wound up, but I can't agree with her. I have to be me. And if I have to, I don't want to be miserable on videos. I don't want to sit there not really knowing what to say. I don't want to sit there, James' husband gets sent off in the 96th minute, and just say, oh well, he was playing with heart. He had a bit of heart and fight about him, and try and spin a positive out of it. There was nothing at all positive about what James' husband did yesterday. Nothing at all. I can't forgive him for it, even if the player was stamping on him and he lashed out. I don't know, whatever. But to get yourself sent off in the 96th minute of a game you were losing 4-0, why would anybody do? Why would anybody in the right mind do that? We're beaten. It's all over. It's getting sent off again.
for just like no reason whatsoever, just sent off. Just it's ludicrous. The game was ludicrous. The whole thing was ludicrous. Brandon says, when I heard him in his interview talking about not being committed and not doing the basics and competing, I just laughed. You have no idea how many times I've heard the same interview yesterday. I'm sure you have. Loads of Bolton fans kind of, warned us and, said, oh, you never. But even though he did all the wrong things, he did a lot better for you than any manager's done here in that same time. At least you got to a playoff. I mean, we got to a playoff final under Critch, but Critch number one was better than Ian ever. He was really good, but there was nobody in the ground. There was no fans. It was kind of a bit of a luxury, really. He didn't have any fans on his back, and with Critchley, he'd been like looking after like youth football for Liverpool or whatever, which is all, there'll be 3 or 4 people watching the game. I don't know if there's ever that. No atmosphere, nothing. And when COVID came, Critch was in his ideal spot, really, because there was no crowd at all at the game, and it was probably a bit like, no pressure on him because there's nobody there, and we did fantastic. But Critch that came back the second time was awful. The football was awful. I remember, I'll never forget Burton Albion away on Boxing Day. That was Critch. It was terrible. It was just so disappointing to lose to Burton Albion when they hadn't they hadn't won a game for like 14 games. And we went there playing really well. We lost 1-0 on Boxing Day. Just to ruin my Boxing Day. So I understand what you say about Evo, but we all like loved Evo as a player. You know what I mean? And his heart. And those times with Evo as a player, it means he's quite, he's quite special to us. So people wanted Wellens, but even he's not doing so great as with Leyton Orient. So Wellens was never one of my favourite players. I always thought he was a bit arrogant, and I always felt he was Billy Big Bollocks, really, and wanted to be away. There was something about him that I didn't like. I don't know what that means, Callum. I can't. You're 21, man fled. I don't know. Gary Cruncher says Blackpool 2, Mansfield Town 1. Well, I won't be sticking a fiver on it, Gary, if I'm being honest. I can't see that. I would love it. Keith Donaldson says, I don't think Winter and Downs you don't think Winter and Downs is a double negative. Do you think Winter and Downs don't care? I'm waiting for Sadler to pay them off. You do think that? And James Husband should go let the team down. Yeah. He just come back from suspension. Yeah, it was terrible. It was just terrible. It was ridiculous. And I've said enough about it. I've said it in the video. In fact, if you haven't watched my video, please do. If only to watch Daz and to just watch my thing at the end, really, that I waffle on. And actually just for the final closing scene, it's worth watching. Everett keeps saying week in and week out, want to respond. I bet he said this at Bolton. He probably did. He wants response. We're not getting response, sorry. Kai Cameron says, us Blackpool fans haven't seen much success for a long time. If you think about, as there was only 4,000 fans at Wembley. Indeed, I was there, obviously, because we were season ticket holders. So, we didn't go to any games, so we had priority going. We went there. Jane promised she'll never ever go to a match with me ever again, never go to a cup final, sit next to me, because it was so stressful in the last 10 minutes. I made it really uncomfortable for her. I was screaming at the team to keep hold of the ball because we didn't, and they were coming at us, and even they were throwing the goalkeeper up and everything. It was an absolute nightmare, Wembley. It wasn't enjoyable until that final whistle went and we were there, but all that was for nothing. Brandon says, how's Randall getting on? He is surprisingly injured. Like all our players, he played one game, looked pretty good actually. To be honest, took him off after about 50 minutes. I think he looked really good, and then he came on. Everett rested him. He didn't start him in the next game. He brought him on at half time. He came on and he did his hamstring or something in within about 5 minutes of running on the pitch. So that's how well he's doing. yeah, well, I think everybody knows it was a COVID restriction at that time. Yeah, it did deprive a lot of people of going to Wembley and enjoying that. But, you know, we all enjoyed the first season back in the Championship. It was absolutely marvellous. And I've said it quite a few times, but for losing Dujon Sterling and Gabriel, right as we were almost in the playoff spots, we were going for it, and they were playing unbelievable. We'd found this amazing combination, these two fullbacks that were just so good. And I honestly thought, I remember having a conversation with, it might have been Raggy at the Armfield Club, and I thought we were going in the playoffs, and they both got injured. Gabriel got injured at West Brom. That big striker there used to play for Newcastle, injured him, and he never came back, and Dujon Sterling picked up an injury, and that was the end of that, and everything's been downhill, and, you know, Critch left, and it's just been downhill with some really bad management decisions, really, you know, really bad. Yeah, the majority of fans. It is and it isn't for me. It's the glory way if you win it, but the stress of it is awful. And it is good if you win it, and we have won it quite a lot of times, but when you lose it, it's awful. And I would just like to actually win a league, you know, actually win. Have a season where the whole season is just a joy. Because quite often when we win the playoffs, we're nowhere near, and we come right near the end. We make a gallop towards the, getting in the top six, don't we? We come from nowhere. And most of those seasons were I've been on A View from the Tower lots of times, back to when Keegan Park was in, all the rest of it, and people were moaning in the A View from the Tower all the time because Blackpool are not really doing all that well, and you can't really see that they're going to get anywhere, and they're not going to get in, and all of a sudden we get in. All of a sudden we do manage to put a little bit of a spurt together and get in the playoffs, and then everything's joyful. But the actual season as a whole has never really been joyful in those years when we've got promoted, because we just come from nowhere. And I would just once in my life be sat at the top of the league the whole way, and just be, wanting to go to every game, and wanting to go away, and wanting to go home and enjoy myself and have a wonderful time. And it's never that. That's what I dream of. Yeah, whatever happened to Kenny Dougal? Yeah, he went to bloody Thailand or something to play out there. Miss him. And we haven't replaced him. He's the main reason. We actually had a battling midfielder. We ain't got one now. Just kids, basically. Normally, that's why we are where we are. Keith Donaldson says, "Hi, did Owen Dale get booed yesterday? I forgot he plays for Plymouth." And I don't think he did. I don't think there's anybody there to boo him, was there? Did he play from the start? I didn't. If he was playing from the start, I didn't really notice him, and he's not. He wouldn't really get booed. He wasn't really. He wasn't. He was pretty good, really. Yeah, he was a bit of a nobody here, really. He looked like he was going to be a really great player, and they never gave him a chance. I don't know, but I don't think Tuesday night games are normally lower gates than Saturdays, and I can see it. I can see a lot of people not going to Mansfield on Saturday. I can see a lot staying away. It's not exciting enough. Football's got to be, unless you've got a season ticket like me, and you kind of got to go. I said in my video that I really feel like I don't want to do match day vlogs anymore. I am not enjoying them. I'm not enjoying making them. I'm not enjoying the fact that I have to edit losing videos all the time. I'm not enjoying the fact that I'm not bringing joy to people's lives. I read on A View from the Tower, Wayne, who is sun-grown and who's been through prostate surgery and all sorts of stuff. He used to work with my dad, and my dad really loved him. He was his foreman at the time at Jupils, and he came along. He used to bring Wayne. He really liked Wayne, and it's great memories of mine from back in the 80s. really when he came along, and Wayne really, you know, loved my dad. You know, they all loved my dad. They used to call him El Tel because he was Terry, and he posted, and there's a thread on of Even the Tower. Even Lee Charles has had enough. And I think it's affected quite a few people. You can join in and post, and maybe post against the people that say, I never watched Lee Charles, he's a knobhead. I get all that sort of shit, don't I? Can't stick him. I wouldn't watch him if you paid me £1 million. What a clown he is, you know. Things I've had hurled at me over the years, you know. In fact, somebody used to say I'm like, what did he used to say? Somebody used to say, you know, it's like watching Keith Chegwin. I love Keith Chegwin. I'd love to have had the success on TV that Keith Chegwin. And somebody used to call me Timmy Mallet. Another one, I used to love Mallet's Mallet. I love all that sort of daft stuff. I'm from Blackpool, you know, it's the entertainment capital of the, you know, we started it all off, all that sort of like seaside and variety shows. It all started here. You know, we are the entertainment, and I like entertaining people. I always have, you know what I mean? I've been a DJ, play piano. I just love entertaining people and making people laugh, and I hate being miserable, and it's just so if you want to go and stick up for me and View for the Tower, say, you know, if anybody's, I don't think anybody has, but the point I was making was Wayne has posted, and he watched my video at 4:30 in the morning. He's in so much pain at the moment. I'm thinking, oh my God, Wayne, you're up having, you know, a terrible time, in real pain up in the night, and you're having to watch my video, and that makes me sad, you know. Makes me really sad. I don't want to have that effect in people's life. I've said before, I want to be part of the solution, not the problem, but I can't lie. I can't watch it and say I'm enjoying it when I'm not. So am I better just not doing the vlog? You know, am I better not putting you all through it and just, you know, just interview the fans outside the ground, interview the fans. I'd like, probably for me, I would just like to interview fans before the game, interview fans after the game, and not bother with the game at all. We just talk, you know, we just talk to fans. I don't want to put people through me, you know, being down, just not knowing what to say, and just the pain of watching it. And I can't film the game. I don't want to film the game. I wanted to make these videos watchable, whether we win, you know, lose, draw, make it interesting, you know, make you all enjoy coming along the ride with me, suffer with me, but suffering not be like all the time. And at the moment, it's just all the time. And it's just honestly mentally on me. I don't know whether I'm doing the right thing or the wrong thing. I feel like I'm torturing everybody by, you know, being so miserable. I actually said to somebody as I was walking into the ground, you know, I find myself like, I've gone beyond turning into my dad's moaning into turning into my granddad's moaning. You know, I'm getting that bad at moaning. I don't want to moan and complain, bitch and whine, and, you know, I hate it when all the fans come on the video and say, "Oh, you were so honest and so biased, and thanks a lot for saying how good we were." I don't want to say how good they were. I don't want a video when I'm saying, "Oh, you know, Stockport deserved to win. Didn't they play well? They beat us off the park. They were fantastic." Why do I want to be saying that? I don't want to be saying that. I want to be saying we were amazing. Say we battered Stockport. Let them come on and say, "Oh, you know, you had the referee in your side and all this." Great. I don't care, do I? I care about Blackpool Football Club. I don't want to be being fair to the team. I am fair. That's the thing. You have to be fair. You got to say what you see, as Roy Walker would say. You know, say what you see. And I do say what I see. And what I see at the moment all the time is everybody that comes to us looks like Barcelona, and we look like an absolute pile of poo every time I watch us. And I just sit there watching it thinking, what the hell is this? What the hell are we doing here? We look absolutely clueless. We look, when they run forward and we've got an attack going on, like, in the second half, when we ran forward and then ran into the box down at the north end and you knew they wouldn't score. Not for 1 minute did I think, even though he got all the way past that man in the box, put a ball across, you knew we wouldn't score. Because you just have no confidence that we're going to score. It's like a miracle if we score. Brandon Dougal chose to leave us and play in Thailand. He's half-time. Yes, he did. He did leave us to go to Thailand. Okay, Dawson Hiley, could you remember David Perkin? I'm fed of the stick I get off Preston fans at work. More stick for me to come up tomorrow, yeah. David Perkin, was it Perking? I don't remember him, Keith, to be honest. It's not a name that... Perkins? Perking? I don't actually, but no, I am glad that I don't work with Preston fans, to be honest. It could be nothing worse. I get enough of them coming just in the comments on the videos. It's kind of good though. They're not as cocky as they were because they're now out of the playoffs. They're now 7th, aren't they? So they got a draw again. They keep managing to somehow keep going, but it's very difficult, that championship, because all those teams above you, they've all strengthened. They're all, they've strengthened the teams, and Preston haven't, have they? They haven't got the money. You need all that money to get in now. Come on, you pearls, says Callum Coyle. That'll do. I have rabbited on for an hour and 45 minutes. If they think Raggy can have a rant, so can I. So I hope I've said a lot of things that make sense. Let me know if you're watching this after in the comments whether it would be a devastation to your life for me not to not to do the match, whether you'd be all right with just fan interviews and me not actually doing it and not putting you through torture and not actually having to go through torture putting these videos together. It takes so long, and it's just a total waste of time. Half the time it's just pointless exercise in pointlessness. So anyway, thanks for watching this. Thanks for sticking. Thanks for your comments. Callum Coyle, you're winning on FC 26, are you? Blackpool 5, Mansfield 0. Well, if only football was played on that. Duncan Wood says, I feel the same. It's Blackpool FC that does it to us. We all have our ups and downs. Think back to Bullock scoring the golden goal. Yeah. What a night that was. We went in a minibus, actually, with Carlo, who sometimes comes on the interviews, was there. And it was just, honestly, it was an horrific night, wasn't it? It was awful. We were like, we 2-0 up going into it, and then it ended up 2-2 at the end. We played terrible, didn't we? But somehow, some way, we got that golden goal. And when that golden goal went in, there was no coming back, was that it was end. They couldn't get an equaliser. It ended. It went absolutely ballistic. Jane was there, apparently. She didn't have the reaction that we were all just going absolutely mental. She was going down shouting at everybody because they put us through so much hell. She'd been through so much hell that the actual scoring the golden goal didn't matter. But for me, it was one of the most wonderful moments ever. Oh, Andy Garner returning with Mansfield coaching staff. Ooh, Andy Garner. It's Blue Entities. How bad is it going to get until the board realises we need to do something? Because I think the board, I think Julian Winters and David Downs are doing absolutely sweet Fanny Adams. I think they're the problem. That's why they don't want to do anything about it. Because they're both absolutely dog shit, aren't they? They're both terrible. You can't say either of them are good. I mean, where are we? What are they doing to justify the wages? What is their job, right? David Downs, his job is to bring good players in that can play the Blackpool way, play attacking, on top, dominating football that we all want to see, yeah. So that's his job. So he ain't doing that, is he? His job is to find players that are not sick notes. He's not doing that, is he? He's got to find players that are rough, tough, hard in the midfield. We've been short of midfield, like an aggressive midfielder for how long? How long have we been without anybody like Kenny Dougal? How long now? Do we ever get one in? No. We lose out, don't we? Well, surely there's got to be a midfielder that's a bit hard in League Two at the moment, who's near the top that we could have poached, or we could have got in the summer. Surely we could have beaten a league. There'll be a really good midfielder in League Two, or 2 or 3, or even in non-league, or in Scotland, or anywhere. Somebody as hard as nails we need. He's not got that, has he? And Julian Winter's job is to make sure that the ground is full, the club are making money, he looks after the fans, he doesn't bring wanker stewards in from out of town who know nothing about Blackpool, not interested in Blackpool, who, are not Blackpool people. He could employ local people to do that job. There's no money in his town. I'm sure 50 people will bite his hand off tomorrow to be a steward at Blackpool and get paid to watch a game as much as those are getting paid to travel all the way from wherever they're travelling from to come and steward a game here. And if he's saving a few bob, then he's losing thousands. They're losing thousands, pissing people off, making it not a nice thing. Jobs with everywhere in it. Nobody really cares about fans. They just care about, that we're this superior bloody corporate club. We're not a corporate club. Blackpool are not a corporate club. We never will be. We're a family club. And our success is, Blackpool's success has been because we are a family club. We'll never be a successful corporate club. If you take over this club, you've got to have the money to throw away at it, really, which is why we need somebody from that owns a continent to come and take us over. Somebody with money doesn't care, or somebody like Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney that can actually see that there's a lot of potential in Blackpool to do a really entertaining show on Netflix because it is entertaining, isn't it? I think there's been something on Burnley, and there was entertaining about Burnley. Nothing is there. But Blackpool, it's just entertainment all. So we need somebody like that who comes in and can actually, throw money away and not care, but also understands that Blackpool's poor. The population's poor. The wages are poor. There's unemployment everywhere. People need jobs. Employ them. Work with fans. Work with fans that actually love the club, work with them, help them. Use social media in a good way. Social media gets a lot of bad press because there's a lot of abuse on it. But when people love something and they do something out of love, then work with them. Eugene McGee, Monster CRX says Preston will come back to their perpetual 14th place. I was going, but you keep writing comments, so I can't go. So Preston will come back to their perpetual 14th place in the Championship. Well, I can't see, hey, if they do it, if they do get in the Premier League, if they do get in the playoffs and they do manage to get to Premier League, every credit to them. They'll have done miracles because I can't see it. I honestly can't see it. I don't think they're good enough. I don't think they have the funds to do it. I hope I'm right. I certainly hope I'm not. I don't want to be wrong. Eugene McGee said Blackpool play Mansfield at home. Yes, read the room, Eugene. We all know that. We're all thinking we're going to lose. George BFC 2526. We all know who George is, don't we? He has his own YouTube channel. Blackpool. I've not watched your video yet. I'll have to see what you thought about it all. But George says a horrible result, Lee. We really do have to think now about relegation. If you haven't been thinking about it until now, where have you been? We've been thinking, we've been talking about it for so long. Relegation is a definite possibility. We've been down the bottom of the league since it started. Let me remind you, we are now 1 point in front of the relegation zone in 19th position. There is a more, I actually said earlier on, if all the teams below us win their game in hand, we are second bottom. That's how bad it is, George. Do the math. It's worse than that. Sack the board, says Connor. Yes, please get this man out of our club. Please get rid of Julian Winter. What a piece of garbage he is. Get that melts Julian Winter out of our club. I can't watch the interview because I know it will make my blood boil. I just know it will. Just seeing him on an interview will make my blood boil. It really will. It really will. Because I can see the guy that wants to fleece kids for money and we have to pay for his electric bill. That's all I see every time I see him, and I just think he's a joke. I don't know why he's the CEO of this club. Where do I think Blackpool will finish in League One this season? At the moment, I think we will finish in the bottom four. At the moment. If we play like we did on Saturday, we will finish in the bottom four. And we will be relegated playing like that. Because that is a relegation performance. It's a team not battling. I don't want to go over it all again, but the video that I made in the Championship where I said that Blackpool were not playing like a team that were bottom of the league, were playing like a team that were happy to go down and weren't trying and weren't that team that my dad used to talk about to me, Lee, these are going to be hard today. Teams at the bottom of the league are hard to beat. They're battling for their lives. We were not that team. And we're now not that team. You saw two teams on Saturday, and one of them was a team battling for their lives, and one of them wasn't. And I tell you what, the one that wasn't Plymouth Argyle. It was us. The team that were not battling was us. We were absolutely bloody awful. Embarrassingly awful. There was no heart, no desire, no drive, no desire to get on top of the team, no desire to get in control of the game. We let them get in control of us. And that is a team that is going down to hell in a handcart. Monster X says, I watch these live streams as a form of shared therapy when we lose and enjoy your fan reactions when we win. But I'll be there again on Tuesday. Indeed. I use them as therapy. Jane won't talk to me about football anymore. She just doesn't. She's disconnected from it because it wasn't bringing her any joy, and she can't believe that I'm carrying on with these things. But it's my life. This has been, it has been Jane's life, but Jane didn't start when, like, her dad didn't take her when she was 5, like my dad did, and put me through all this torture that I've been. Oh God, Connor, we're going down. Unfortunately, just can't see where we're going to get 20 points from. Neither can I. Eugene, well, come on, come on. They are getting. It's not even a case of thing. They've had so many points against it. They got no chance. Sack the board, sack the board, sack the board, says Callum. Indeed, so good. You said it 3 times. Even Cod's vlogs on YouTube said he feels sorry for us and said Downs and Winters are the problem. Yeah, we know it. Why can't Simon Sadler see it? Connor says James Husband should never play for us again. 4-0 down, game over, and he gets a red card. Yeah, what a captain, what a plonker. I mean, why? I've already said it. I can't say it any more than that. Why? Why? For what reason would you get yourself sent off when you're 4-0 down with like 3 minutes to go? I mean, even if it kind of highlighted the fact that the guy had been, really deserved a red card for the way he went in on him. Even if he'd have got the guy sent off by reacting with some sort of kick out that he thought might prove that the guy was like holding him on the floor or something, but even if he had have achieved getting that player sent off, we were 4-0 down. It wouldn't have made any difference. They'd have hung on with 10 men, 4-0 up, wouldn't they, with 3 minutes to go? It was the most stupid, ridiculous, idiotic thing I think I've ever seen at Bloomfield Road. And I've seen some daft things, but that really just take the biscuit. Eugene McGee says no fight in this Blackpool team right now. Indeed. Oh, George says, I'm so happy I'm not at Bloomfield Road. I'm in Tenerife, thank the Lord. Well, yes. Well, I hope you've watched my video because you'll know exactly what it was like to be in Bloomfield Road. It was like being in a morgue. Everybody went. Everybody left. There was just a few hardy souls that stayed till the end. It was just Lowe's left before half-time. Actually left, on half-time. Yes, indeed. All this mess was caused by Mr. Downs and Mr. Bruce in the summer end of. In fact, yeah, we all know Simon Sadler put his, none of us are going to criticise. Well, some people will because they always do, but nobody's really going to criticise Simon Sadler for the investment he made in the summer. I couldn't believe that we were signing players so early. I couldn't believe that we were taking players that other teams were after and actually winning it. But I'm not quite sure if other teams were just playing a game, making us sign duck eggs by pretending they were actually going in for them and then went in for somebody else much better. I don't know. The whole, it's really weird. Just very quickly, but there was somebody on A View from the Tower that was talking about, a lad we ought to sign. When a fan posts in, somebody we ought to sign. There's this lad playing for Dundee, Clarkson, Blackpool should be looking at him. It was on A View from the Tower, like weeks and weeks ago. So somebody highlighted him out. And then when we signed him, I'm thinking, I barely just read the post on A View from the Tower and thought whoever's seen this Clarkson reckons he's a good player, so we'll go for him. I don't feel like we scouted him at all. I literally believe it was that post on A View from the Tower. Somebody said we ought to get this lad from Dundee, this Clarkson. And then when we signed him, I've seen what Dundee have said. There was a few things originally saying, oh my God, life's over, they signed Clarkson. I'm thinking, wow, we got a whirlwind. And then as I read more and more, he hasn't played for him all season. It wasn't even featured. So I don't know. Am I going on Tuesday? Yes, I am, Thomas. I am going on Tuesday. Of course I'm going on Tuesday. But whether I'm going to do a vlog, I don't know. Do you want me to do another moaning freaking vlog praising Mansfield? Because that's what it'll be. If, and this is really important, if you want me to keep doing this, then come and meet me. You know where I stand. Come and give your views, and then I don't have to do it. Because that's far more interesting than me moaning on about a bloody game, which is just, I don't have to edit it. I'll just put your fan opinions on. You can come on. Somebody jokingly said on A View from the Tower a while ago that there's not that many people now sitting in this stand because nobody wants to be on a Lee Charles TV video. It's very kind of somebody to say that. But maybe it's true. Maybe the South is so sparse now because nobody wants to be on a Lee Charles TV video. But I just hope my channel is your voice. I want it to be your voice. I want to film fans before the game and what it's like, what people are thinking. This is my thinking, right? I think if I get your views and your thoughts on what you believe is going to happen in that game to start off with as our opening thing, yeah? So you're either saying, Blackpool, I'm coming here today, Lee, and honestly, I can't see us winning, or we've just signed this player's back, I'm really excited, Everett's going to turn it around, and we get all those things. Score prediction, Blackpool going to win 4-1, Blackpool going to lose 4-1, whatever it is before the game. But then, to get you all coming out and get your feeling, whether it's jumping up and down for joy because you were right and you put £10 on them to win 3-0 and bloody, bowler to score the first and you've won £2,000 and Blackpool are amazing and you're coming out. I want those interviews. I want that video. Positive going in, positive coming out. But I also want positive coming out completely and utterly devastated, coming out, telling me what you thought of it, what went wrong in the spur of the moment. That's what I want. Can I get that? Can I get that? That's down to you guys. You know where I am. I can stand wherever you want me to stand. I can stand always, where I stand in that corner behind the Jimmy Armfield statue. I can stand there at the end of the games if you want me to. I can come out the door that leads to that corner, go and stand there. And if you come and talk to me, I'll stand there and I'll stand there before and after. which is probably a better place than where I try and get people, which is outside the, the Scotland Yard sign thing of the Rollies, the corner flag or whatever, which people just go past me all the time. It's hard to catch people, but I may stand, if you want me if you want to come on and you want to be somebody who is quite happy to put the neck on the line before the game and come out and tell me the truth of how you're feeling, how it went, whether you're happy or sad, then that is really what I would just like to morph into. Just doing that. Doesn't need anything else. Because all the rest of it is just, I'm just really telling you, just being honest. And you don't need me to tell you, really. It was shit, do you? You know what I mean? I'm not reinventing the wheel by saying this is bloody awful. I don't know what to say, because I'm sure you were all sat there saying to your friends, I honestly, what is this? What is this I'm watching? Well, what have I paid a season ticket for? What have I bought a ticket for? What have I spent £30 on to watch this? My wife says I'm mental going to this. You come home every weekend, Charlie, and you're miserable. You make everybody miserable because you're miserable the whole weekend. We don't want you going to football anymore because you're ruining the family. You're taking your son there. Look at him. He's like, I've never seen an 8-year-old so down in all my life as our son, because you're taking him to watch this garbage every week. You don't need me to tell you that. You already know all that yourself. So I don't need to do the match. I don't film any match footage, so you don't, there's no point coming on my videos for highlights, because there ain't any on it. There's just me and Pickle telling you what you already know, which is it's either good or it's bad. That's it. I tell you it's good. I tell you it's bad. I tell you we're doing well. I tell you we're not doing so well. I tell you I can't believe what I'm seeing, and that's it. But I'd much rather get all you guys on, because my channel's all about you. Only I should have mentioned I'm not there Tuesday. I was there for the slaughter yesterday. Oh, you were there. All right. I'll have to watch your video and see how you cope with it. Because young ones don't know the pain. You don't know the pain, man. You haven't been through the life that we have. Honestly, you've got a lot to learn yet, George. Honestly, following this club is an absolute nightmare. And Monster CRX says, when will we learn that we need the players in their position? Bloxham comes alive when he gets back to the wing. Yes, he does, doesn't he? He feels sorry for him. He doesn't really want to be a striker, does he? Everett, for some reason, sees a striker in him, but Everett only sees a striker in him because he hasn't got any strikers. So you'll do. You can be a striker. You can be my striker. I know you want to be a winger. I know you only play well on the wing, but I see you as a striker only because he ain't got any. Formation prediction for Mansfield. I don't know. Bluebirds, Bo, Carl, you're doing all right. Top of the league, aren't you? Less said about that, the better. Well done, Bluebirds. Leighton Orient fans were laughing. We paid £400,000 for Jordan Brown, and I see why. Offers nothing like most of these overpaid shits. Yes, of course I'm still with Jay. She just doesn't come to matches anymore. Ben Natman is here. Oh my God. Well, there we are. People are quoting you, Nappers. They're saying, hope you're all good. No, I'm not good. Everybody's saying that you've been saying that what we're saying, that Winter and Downs are the problem. This is Cod's Blogs, by the way. Fleetwood, friend of the channel. We used to do stuff together. He's a great football YouTuber. He works with Fleetwood in the media team. They don't mind him being a football blogger. They love him at Fleetwood because he's a football blogger, unlike any football vlogger at Blackpool that they all hate and close down. They took George. They took It's Ramos into the media team, but stopped him doing his YouTube. They didn't stop you doing your. Yeah, she's a fake fan. Yes. Don't talk shit, Callum, honestly, or else I will ban you from the channel. Don't be abusive. She's not a fake fan at all. She's given lots and lots of her time to fucking Blackpool Football Club, a lot more than fucking me or you have, trust me. She's done fanzines, stood out in the wind and the rain. She's been to every fucking home and away game for 15 years. She's done her time, and it's getting her down, so don't say that shit in the comments, or else I will ban you.
Hey up Nappers, thanks for your piece on Blackpool on your League One Live. It was good to hear you so passionate about this shit show and spreading so much awareness. All right, yeah. Elboy says all we have to do is get through to season end, fifth of bottom, then it's World Cup and the Open in Southport. Would be nice to get through, wasn't it? Callum, his dad took. I don't even know why. I don't even know why I'm. If you don't start posting shit in the comments, Callum, I will just ban you from. I will ban you from posting because you've upset me about Jane. Yeah, you're still taking the piss, mate. I'm going to ban you. I'm going to ban you right now. Don't take the piss. She's a bigger football fan. She's as big a Blackpool football fan as anybody. But at the moment, she's suffering with a lot of mental stress with work and everything else. She actually had a breakdown during lockdown and ended up in like help, which she found her way back in non-league. And she's come back to Blackpool, but it's making her really down, and she doesn't want to be down. So just shut up when you don't know something about somebody. Please do me the favour. Ben was taken to Blackpool when he was about 8 years old, but then joined the boycott. His dad took him to watch Fleetwood, and at that age he fell in love with Fleetwood. He was never in love with Blackpool. He's not a Blackpool fan. He was just a little boy taken to a match or two, and then we boycotted. So his dad went to Fleetwood with him, and he's a Fleetwood fan. It's not, he's not a Blackpool fan. He's a Fleetwood fan. That's it. George BFC says, I will have to get Jane back. Remember Jane Stewart away days back in the day? Yeah, I mean, Jane, she's just not enjoying it, and it's making her life miserable. And I make her miserable, to be honest, because I'm coming home and I'm miserable, and she doesn't want to talk to me about it. She doesn't want to talk when I'm miserable, and I understand why. It's why I have these really, where I sound off to you guys. But yeah, do that, Callum, please. Don't talk about things you don't know anything about. Elboy says, I used to see Jane in the South Stand in the 1990s. Oh yeah, I mean, Jane did from the time up until the boycott. I think she'd done 15 years of every single home and away game. She went to Latvia in pre-season. She went to Scotland in pre-season. She sold the fanzines in the wind and the rain in the 90s. She brought a fanzine back and stood out there, freezing to death to sell a fanzine to bring joy to Blackpool fans. And yeah, she's a proper true fan, and I'm very proud of her. And yeah, that's enough said on that. Right, anyway, thank you very much for watching. I think Callum spoilt the show completely, spoilt my mind actually. It's just not good, mate. Honestly, it's just not good, not nice. It's the sort of shitbaggy thing that people are in this world nowadays. It's the shit abuse that I get sometimes. People shouting things out to me that are disgraceful, to be honest. That are not true. If we lose to Mansfield on Tuesday, would you? Why would I be ever out? I can't blame Everett, to be honest. The problem with this club is not Everett. We could get another manager in. We could get Pep Guardiola in, and he wouldn't be able to do any good, because the problem isn't with the managers. The problem is within the running of this football club. And those two people that are doing the two jobs that are most important jobs, one bringing the right kind of players in, and the other actually running this shit show of a football club, both need to go. Football for you. Having emotion is horrid, but sometimes it's the best thing. Shows how much you care.
Right, well, in that case, Callum, don't come on next time you're drunk and start saying things to just piss me off, because you're coming on here as like a friend of mine, and you're criticising my girlfriend on my own stream, and it's just terrible. So do not do it again. Right, thank you very much. That's it. I am going off in a bit of a rage because I feel that way. And I don't like shitbaggy things. So watch this video, enjoy this video. If you're watching this on the rerun, please post in the comments and tell me your thoughts, and I'll chat with you and everything else. I want Blackpool to do so well, and I don't want to be part of the problem. Let me know if you can get my email. It's on my channel if you want to be on the videos, to give you so I stand there and I'm just looking for people to talk to half the time, and it's hard. Everybody's walking past me. I don't go running across people and say, can you be on? I don't drag people. If people come up to me, they want to be on, but I don't want the same people on all the time. So I need more people. I'd love a queue of people just coming up to be on the video and tell me what they thought of the game after. I'd love that more than anything. I'd love people coming up to me at the start of the game telling me, their thoughts on the club, the thoughts on where we're going, the thoughts on everything. I want to hear your thoughts, and I will put your thoughts out to as many people as watch these videos. Get your voice out. I am your voice. My channel is for you guys. And if you want to come on the videos and say what you want to say, I know sometimes people don't want to be seen on video. I mean, if you don't want to be on video, I can have it so I film me and you talk, and I don't even have you on video. If you actually don't want to be on a video, I can be on the video asking the questions, and I can have you mic'd up answering my questions and just film myself. I don't have to film you if you don't want to be filmed. But if you want to give your opinion on stuff, then please, 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 come on these videos and let me carry on with this, but not doing these match day vlogs, because I am going to stop them. I swear to God, I'm at my wit's end with them. I really am. Yeah. Connor says, thanks for the show. Keep your head up and keep making your videos. Appreciate them so much. Have a good one. Hopefully you're with me at the moment while things are not good. We'll just do fan interviews. I don't want to put you all through the misery of watching a match day vlog, but to hear the fans' opinions is good. Yeah. Thanks for the apology, Callum. That's nice. Monster CRX, have a good rest of your nightly. See you next time. Have a good one. Yes. Thanks, Blue Entity. What, after everything you said today, you now want to be on film? Really? After you've upset me, you want me to actually bring you on film? No, not at all. Right, thanks a lot.